Hi. I know it's been kind of a while since I've done one of these, so what the heck have I been doing for the last year and a half? Well, let's get it out of the way right away. It has not been writing Book 5 of Ethereal Earth. Now, I know that's not what any of you wanted to hear, but I promise there are good reasons for it, and I'll go into that more in the back half of the video, because I promised you an announcement in the thumbnail, and that's what I'm here to do. I do have a big announcement. I actually wrote a whole new trilogy. All 3 books already finished. It's called The Durnwin Strain. And it's a near-future sci-fi fantasy adventure set in a world where everybody has been implanted with these things called Evo chips that are basically like your cell phones, but projected directly over your vision. It lets you view the world through any filters you want. It gives you constant access to the internet, which I know sounds like a nightmare, and it kind of is. It projects these illusions all over the entire world in this augmented reality kind of dystopia. And the story, basically, is about a guy named Michael Boulder who thinks these Evo chips are basically everything that's wrong with society, and he's right. But he discovers that his daughter, his oldest daughter, goes missing. And together with his younger daughter, Rhea, they have to follow clues left for them in this augmented reality game that she developed. It's got lit RPG elements for those who like that, but it's fairly light. So if you don't have any experience with that genre, it's very easy to step into. It's actiony, it's adventure-y, it's about a dad's relationship with his daughters, and it deals with loss and love, and it's funny and fun and also serious. So for anybody who's read any of my stuff, it's very similar to Ethereal Earth in that it's got a little bit of everything, and it tries to mix it well enough that you can take from it what you want. But basically they go into this augmented reality game layered over the real world, and they discovered that all these fantastical monsters now inhabit the world, and they have the power to actually kill. And Michael realizes that there's this shadowy cabal that's trying to steal this prototype game out of his head. So very similar in theme to Ethereal Earth. And Michael discovers that he has a new kind of magic that's based a little bit in imagination and based a little bit in technology. And it's just really fun adventure. I just finished writing the 3rd book like 2 days ago. And the first 2 books are basically ready to publish. I'm going to start recording the audiobooks for those really soon. And so those could be out, within the next couple months. But the reason I'm making this video is to give you this announcement, and also to ask you a really important question. Amazon and Audible and Facebook advertising have been kind of my go-to methods of getting these books to you and getting the word out for my entire career. And it works, but increasingly it's become more difficult and more expensive. And there are a lot of reasons for that. And again, I'll go over that more in the back half. But I've been thinking a lot about different ways to get these books to you now and in the future. And so my big question is, if I did a Kickstarter for this series, is that something you'd enjoy? The 2 choices, essentially, are I can do it the regular way. I could release it on Amazon and Audible, and it would be very easy because I know how to do those things. Or I can do it as a Kickstarter, and I can hire additional artists to do interior art and maybe some collectible swag and some cool extra stories that could be packaged with a box set that has a slipcover and, just a lot of cool, interesting things that I'm not able to do in my current model because it costs a lot of money and time, and I'm trying to get things to you as cheaply and quickly as I possibly can. If I were to do the Kickstarter, though, I could suddenly do all those things. And would that be something you'd be interested in? So if you would do me a favor and right now just pause the video and just leave a comment below this video letting me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. Because if you're watching this video, you're probably my core audience. You're the ones whose opinions I really care about. And if you say no, that you just want the books as quickly as I can get them out to you, then cool. I'll do it the normal way. If you say, yeah, you'd like to see what more I can do with this, I've got some really weird ideas too that could extend this series out and make it, I don't know, bring it into kind of different genres and different, spheres, of interaction is the best I can describe it without giving it away. I can do all of that through Kickstarter, through stretch goals and things like that. So, if that sounds interesting to you, please leave me a comment so I can kind of take an informal poll and dictate how I'm going to proceed with this series. Because like I said, it's done. I just need to figure out how I'm going to get it to you now, the best way for you and the best way for me. So pause here, leave that comment. And now we're in the back half of the video where if you don't care about what I've been doing for the last year and a half or why I decided to write a new series instead of moving on with Ethereal Earth right away, then you can stop here. It doesn't matter. But if you do care, here's what I'm going to explain because I owe that to you, I feel like, an explanation. You've come with me. If you're watching this, you've probably come with me through the last 4 or 5 books. And, so you're like, understandably curious why I would spend a year and a half not writing the next book in the series. So there are essentially 3 reasons for it. First, like Dawn Raised, right behind me here, didn't do quite as well as I expected it to. It did okay, basically, but not well enough to justify the time and the effort I put into it. And there are reasons for that. Again, that book took a long time and I probably lost some people, and it's been harder and harder to get back to people. Facebook, Amazon, Audible, they all want you to kind of pay to play. If you want to reach your readers, you have to give them lots of money in advertising. They don't want to tell people for free that your next book is out. So people who read book 1, book 2, book 3, they've all fallen off, probably haven't even realized I've released a lot of books after book 1, book 2, and so on. And book 4, I think, suffered from that more because it did take so long. But bottom line, it just didn't do as well. So when I was looking at writing book 5, I realized that it's not going to do better because you have to have read book 4. And so I was to a point where if I was traditionally published, my publisher would have sat me down and had a serious talk with me about the future of the series. So I had to sit myself down and have a serious talk. Before we get too far into this, I'm not saying I'm not finishing Ethereal Earth. That is not what's happening. So don't worry. It is definitely the next thing I'm doing after I get done with this Durnwin Strain release. The second reason is that there's changes in the market, I guess is the best way to say it. Facebook advertising has become a lot harder because they've switched over to different advertising models. So it's not as simple as just saying, hey, if you like Neil Gaiman or Jim Butcher, you're gonna like my books. Now it's much more complicated than it even was a year or 2 ago. And I thought that was too complicated for people like me who don't want to market. I don't want to learn how to be good at marketing. I want to be good at writing books and telling stories. But the fact is that you have to be. If you want to be independently published, you have to be good at marketing, and it's just getting more and more complex as things change, and Facebook and Amazon are not making it easier for us. They're making it more profitable for themselves. And so I have a lot of reasons why I think that it's becoming harder. Part of it is that people are releasing smaller books. People are releasing books that are like 40,000 words long, like 100 pages or something, and charging full novel prices for that. And so when I write a book over an entire year that's 150 to 200,000 words long, I can't compete with those people who are churning out 5, 6, 7 books a year because they're so much smaller. So they're making 4 to 10 times more money than I am doing this, and their books are staying more relevant because Amazon favors quantity a lot of the time. And you don't want to hear about algorithms and stuff like that. That's boring. But it's just like a fact of the market now that smaller, faster released books do better. And there's just not a lot I can do about that. It's just the way it is. And the last thing is the reason that kind of ties into all of this is AI. Now, everybody has different opinions about AI. My opinion is that it may be a net good for humanity in sometime in the future and in some applications. But when it comes to art, it's garbage. I hate it. It's everything wrong with art. But it is spoiling the game for a lot of us. People who just want to write good stories. I have so many friends who that's their only goal. They just want to tell a fun story and sell a book a year. And that's it. And we can't keep up with AI because AI can churn out a book, a convincing book in a month. And then you can use AI to do, your cover in an hour, and you can edit your book in a day with AI, and you can write your blurb in minutes with AI, and you can do all these things. You can do AI narration now, and it sounds terrible, but it's good enough that some people don't care, and Audible certainly doesn't care. They're letting people do it, and it's all good enough that it can be on the marketplace, and when people can release hundreds of these, it just pushes good, earnest books down and reduces our visibility. And so it makes it that much harder to keep up. And so all of those factors hit me about a year and a half ago. And I realized that I can't possibly compete. Like, I can't write a book a year or a book a year and a half and think I'm going to be able to keep up with all these things. It's just not realistic. Which meant that I wasn't going to be able to, like, book 5 might have been the last in the series, not by my choice, but just because the market changed. And so I had to do something to basically subsidize Ethereal Earth. And so I took kind of a, if you can't beat them, join them attitude. And I said, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to write 3 quick books with this idea that I had, about, that was kind of in the same parallel dimension as Ethereal Earth, but veers off pretty wildly after the initial concept. And so I set out to write 3 books that were like 40,000 words long, and they were just going to be quick, and I was going to beat people at their own game. And then that didn't happen because I'm me and I can't write a quick, cheap book that isn't worth something. And so they doubled in length, more than doubled in length. Now they're like 80, 90,000 words long. They're a full novel, a real novel. And the complexity just ramped way up, and it became this thing that was more complex than Ethereal Earth in some ways. And, became like part of my own experience as a dad. And it has a lot of, kind of commentary on AI and the state of art and what it means to be human and what it means to live in a world that is increasingly kind of shrouded in this fake veneer that, and like what truth becomes when everything is false, So it became much more complex. These books now are something, instead of just a cheap cash grab, now they're something that I'm really, really proud of. And I'm hoping that the series does well so it can kind of finance Ethereal Earth. This series is going to be the patron of my passion project, Ethereal Earth, to get that all the way out there and out to you, because I know you're waiting for it. So, if you would please, again, leave me a comment about the Kickstarter idea. If that sounds like something you would support, if I get enough support for that, I'll give it a shot. If not, look for another video really quickly. I mean, really one way or another, really soon, about either announcing a Kickstarter or announcing a release date for the Dernwin strain. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm on to book 5 of Ethereal Earth. So thank you very much for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry it takes me so long to get you these updates, but I promise there'll be another one very soon. Thanks a lot.